There's something about this moment that isn't random, Scorpio. The fact that you're here right now reading these words, it isn't by chance. It's a calling, and not the kind that shouts from the rooftop demanding attention. No, this call comes quietly. It whispers through the cracks in your thoughts. It hums just beneath your skin. Like a frequency only your soul was born to hear. You see, Scorpio, the June solstice didn't just happen, it found you. Because among all the signs, you are the one most prepared to receive it. Not with logic, not with facts, but with your emotional X-ray vision, the gift of feeling before understanding, of knowing before anything is said aloud. The solstice isn't just an astronomical event, it's a spiritual intersection. It is where time folds, veils thin, and light speaks in a language only the brave can interpret. And Scorpio, you are fluent in the tongue of the unseen. Let's be honest, haven't you felt it? Even before you heard a single word about solstices, portals, or awakenings. Your body already knew. You've been waking up at odd hours, feeling emotions that aren't yours, questioning cravings, shedding people, dreaming vividly. You've been changing and you didn't even ask to. But here's the truth no one dares say aloud. The solstice didn't start something for you. It came because you already started. You've been recalibrating quietly for months, dropping old skins behind the scenes, questioning things you used to accept without blinking. And now the cosmos is simply catching up to your soul. It's almost ironic. Most people will experience the solstice as a single day of seasonal transition. But for Scorpio, it's not a day, it's a doorway. And you've been standing at it long before anyone else noticed it was there. Because Scorpio is ruled by Pluto, the god of death, shadow, and rebirth. And Mars, the planet of instinct and fire. Together, they make you the gatekeeper of inner worlds. The spiritual warrior who doesn't just believe in transformation. You embody it. You walk into the dark when everyone else runs away. You break to rebuild. You die in one version of yourself so you can be born again. More honest, more powerful, and more aligned. So yes, this solstice has stirred something in you. But more importantly, Scorpio, you have stirred something in the solstice. This energy doesn't just touch you, it answers you. It's responding to the magnetic pulse of your spirit. A signal that says, I'm ready, I've been doing the inner work, show me what's next. And the universe is listening. That strange pull you've been feeling towards silence, toward stillness, toward dreams you can't explain and emotions you can't trace. It's not madness, it's readiness. You're not crumbling, you're cracking open. And the light coming through those cracks is ancient. So if no one has told you this yet, let me say it clearly. You are not falling apart, you are falling into alignment. This moment was marked for you. Before we dive into the 9 sacred signs of this awakening, before we name the whispers that have been brushing against your soul in the night, I want you to do one thing with me. Take a deep breath, close your eyes, and place your hand on your chest. Feel your heartbeat. That's not just your body. That's the echo of every version of you, past, present, future. Aligning, synchronizing, preparing, because what comes next isn't just insight. It's transformation, and you, Scorpio, were born for this. Part 1, the flicker of your soul's true power. Have you ever had a moment, just a brief one, where you suddenly felt invincible? It may have only lasted a few seconds, but in that instant, your entire being lit up from within. You weren't just confident, you were certain. You didn't just hope, you knew. That whatever pain you've carried, whatever confusion surrounded you, whatever chaos the world hurled your way, none of it could break you. In that flicker of a moment, you felt your true power, but then it vanished. It dimmed as quickly as it appeared. And all that remained was the memory, almost like a ghost. leaving you questioning whether it was even real. Let me tell you something that few ever say out loud: that flicker wasn't an accident, and it wasn't imaginary. It was a sacred preview, a cosmic trailer for the version of yourself you are becoming. This is how the universe whispers to Scorpio, not with guarantees but with glimpses. It shows you the light not to tease you but to anchor you, to remind you in your darkest hour of who you truly are beneath all the noise. You see, your journey, Scorpio, is never linear. It spirals. You move forward by diving deeper. You rise by descending into your shadows. You don't transform through comfort, you do it through confrontation. So these flashes of empowerment, these moments of crystal clear purpose, they are not anomalies, they are activations. What you felt wasn't just emotion, it was frequency. It was your soul tuning into a higher timeline, even if only for a breath, to show you what's possible when you fully step into yourself. But why does it fade? Why does it leave you almost more disoriented than before? Here's the truth. When your Martian fire blazes, when your soul surges into full knowing, your system isn't always ready to sustain that voltage, not yet. That's where Pluto comes in. Pluto, your ruler of death and rebirth, knows better than to let you burn out. It says, let's pull back, let's integrate, let's adjust. Because Scorpio isn't about momentary bursts of power. It's about sustainable transformation. This flicker is a promise, not a permanent state, at least not yet. It's showing you what's to come. But it's also testing. Will you trust this version of yourself even when you can't feel it? Will you believe in the power that already lives inside you, even when the world tells you otherwise? And more importantly, will you prepare your life to support it? Let me share a real moment I witnessed. A Scorpio woman, 42 years old, survivor of loss, betrayal, and burnout, once told me, "Sometimes I wake up and feel like I'm already the person I always dreamed of being. I can feel her in me. But by afternoon, it's like she vanishes, and I'm back to doubting everything again." I asked her what she did when that happened. She said, "I light a candle, I sit down, I put my hand on my chest, and I whisper, 'I saw you, I'll be back.'" That's it, Scorpio, that's the power. To hold the memory of your future self like an ember, to protect it, to nurture it, to honor it even when it hides. The flicker doesn't mean you're unstable. It means your spirit is awakening in phases. It means you're already in motion. So the next time that spark returns, even if just for a second, don't chase it, don't panic when it fades. Instead, anchor it, place your hand on your heart and say, "I'm preparing for this to be my new normal." Because that flicker isn't going away, it's returning. And next time it will stay longer and longer still, until one day it no longer flickers, it becomes who you are. Part 2, Sacred Stillness Before the Surge. There's a strange kind of silence that only a Scorpio can hear. It doesn't announce itself with thunder or chaos. It slips in like a whisper, like the soft breath before a storm breaks the sky. And if you've been feeling lately like everything is still not peaceful but eerie, like the world is holding its breath, you're not imagining it. This is not laziness. This is not stagnation. This is the sacred stillness before the surge. Let me paint the picture. You're lying on the couch. You've done nothing all day, and yet you're exhausted, not in your muscles, but in your soul. You feel heavy, like gravity is pulling harder than usual. And at the same time, your mind is racing, your intuition buzzing, as if something enormous is on the horizon, but you don't know what. This is sacred. This is Scorpio territory, and here's why. Scorpio's ruler, Pluto, works beneath the surface, not through drama, but through depth. So when the universe is rearranging your internal reality, it doesn't always look like action. Sometimes it looks like stillness. But not all stillness is empty. This kind of stillness is sacred pause. It's an energetic cocoon. It's your soul saying, SHHH, something delicate is taking form. Let me give you a metaphor. Think of the ocean. Just before a massive wave begins to rise, the surface often goes flat, calm, still, but in the deep miles beneath, pressure is building, currents are shifting, energy is gathering, preparing, and when the wave finally crests, it crashes forward with unstoppable force. That's where you are, Scorpio. You're in the stillness before the surge. It's not your mind making excuses. It's your spirit asking you to hold space, to rest, to wait, so that the energy now calibrating inside you can fully embed itself. You see, transformation doesn't happen when we push. It happens when we allow. Scorpio is a sign that often confuses movement with purpose. You want to do, you want to dig, solve, act, change, rise. But this time the lesson is not in movement. This time the power lies in surrender. Let me tell you about a Scorpio man I once guided. A high-powered executive who had always built his life by force. He was a builder, a fixer, a fire starter, and then out of nowhere he burned out. He couldn't move. He said to me, "It's like something hit the pause button on my entire life." I looked at him and said, "Maybe it wasn't a pause. Maybe it was an invitation to listen." He stayed still for months, and then one day the idea came not from force, not from effort, but from stillness. It birthed a new business, a new mission, and a version of him that was aligned, not just ambitious. That's what sacred stillness creates. And Scorpio, that's what's happening to you if you feel like the world has pressed pause. If your plans suddenly slowed. If your emotions feel dulled like the calm after a storm but before the next one. Trust it. Don't fill the silence, sit with it. Ask yourself, what's trying to be born inside me that requires my stillness, not my struggle? Because right now, your inner reality is being rewritten. Cells are realigning, dreams are reorganizing. Soul contracts are activating. You are being brought to a stop not because you are lost, but because you are standing on the edge of something monumental, and the universe doesn't want you to miss it by being too busy. So here's your sacred task in this moment. When the stillness comes, honor it. Let go of guilt. Let go of urgency. Let go of the need to explain yourself. Instead, light a candle, close your eyes, and just be. This is the silence before the new you takes its first breath. And it's not the end, it's the beginning. Part 3, the dream veil, when your sleep becomes a sacred classroom. Scorpio, let me ask you something deeply personal. Have you been dreaming differently lately? Not the chaotic dreams that come from stress or scattered thoughts, but the kind that leave a mark on your spirit, the kind that feel ancient even if the details are blurry. You wake up with a pounding heart or a deep stillness, and you know somehow that you weren't just asleep, you were somewhere. This is not random. This is what I call the dream veil, a sacred phenomenon where your sleep becomes more than rest. It becomes a classroom, and you, Scorpio, are the perfect student. Let me explain. Scorpio's power isn't just in its emotional depth. It's in its connection to the unseen. Ruled by Pluto, the planet of death, shadow, and rebirths, you are naturally attuned to the liminal. Those in-between spaces where energy flows but logic doesn't reach. And when the world sleeps, you wake up in your truest form. As a soul traveler, you don't just dream, you remember, because dreams for Scorpio aren't just stories, they are messages, maps, visitations. Have you had this lately? You dream of people you've never met, yet their eyes feel familiar. You walk through cities you've never seen, but you know where to turn. You hear music with no lyrics, but it moves you to tears. This is not fantasy. This is your inner self reaching across dimensions, across timelines, across soul contracts. to give you access to wisdom your waking mind isn't yet ready for. You're not crazy, you're connected. And the closer we move toward energetic portals like the solstice, the thinner the veil becomes. Think of it like this: when we are awake, our logical mind guards the gates. It filters, it questions, it edits. But in sleep, when the gates relax, your soul steps forward, unfiltered, unmasked, unbound. This is when your spirit guides whisper in symbols. This is when your past lives nudge your awareness. This is when your future self comes to teach you. And here's the wild truth, Scorpio. Many of you aren't just dreaming, you're traveling. You are being called into astral realms where healing occurs. You are walking through memories that aren't yours, so you can learn empathy. You are visiting places you haven't been yet, because your soul is preparing the path ahead of time. One Scorpio client, a poet and healer, told me, "For weeks I kept dreaming of an ocean filled with stars. No shore, no boats, just water and stars. And I'd wake up crying, but not from sadness, from knowing." That's the dream veil. It doesn't always bring clarity, but it always brings truth. So what do you do with all of this? Start by welcoming it. Each night before sleep, speak this aloud. I open myself to the wisdom that travels through dreams. Let my soul go where it needs to go. Let my waking heart remember what matters most. And then let go. Keep a journal by your bed, even if you only remember a feeling. Colors, a sound, write it down, because over time these puzzle pieces will form a picture, and that picture may change everything. And if you've been waking up exhausted, even after a full night's rest, it's because you weren't just sleeping. You were working, you were healing, you were preparing. This is not ordinary fatigue. This is energetic training. You are being upgraded. Cell by cell, frequency by frequency, so be gentle with yourself. Drink water, avoid harsh sounds in the morning, ease into your day, because your nights are no longer just yours. They belong to the cosmic classroom now. And Scorpio, you're not just a student, you're being prepared to become a teacher of wisdom, of emotional mastery, of mystical truth that can't be found in books, but only in the soft quiet of the dream veil. This is your inheritance, and it's only just beginning. Part 4, the 3am summons what wakes Scorpio in the night. It's 3:12 a.m. You wake up, no noise, no nightmare, no sudden jolt, just clarity, an inexplicable alertness in the silence of the night. Your body isn't tired, your mind isn't racing, and yet your eyes are wide open, staring into the soft shadows of the room. Feeling like you've been called, and you have, Scorpio. This is not insomnia, this is a summons. The world calls it the witching hour. But in truth, it's not an hour of fear, it's an invitation. A sacred window of connection between the spiritual and the physical, between the soul and the stars. And Scorpio, among all the signs, you're the one who hears it clearest. Let's go deeper. Between 3 and 4 a.m., the earth is still. Human thought quiets. The noise of the world, the mental clutter, the emotional static fades. And in that quiet, your spirit guides arrive, not in thunderous visions, but in gentle nudges, in breath, in presence. It is in these moments that the veil between worlds softens, where the past, present, and future can speak in the same tongue. And you can understand it. Have you noticed? At 3am, you don't feel fear, you feel seen, as if something or someone is watching over you. That is the download window. The hour when your energy field is most open to receiving higher truth. During this time, Scorpio, your soul is downloading light codes for healing, processing emotional debris, receiving intuitive upgrades, realigning timelines. You may not remember a specific message, but you'll feel it. The next day, you suddenly know what to say in a difficult conversation. or you feel a calm certainty where chaos lived just hours before. And here's the most important part: you are not waking up by mistake. You are being gently awakened, not for drama, but for communion, because Scorpio doesn't require external noise to awaken. You awaken from within. Let me share the story of a Scorpio artist, someone who once confided in me. For 3 months, she kept waking at 3:33 a.m. At first, she thought it was hormonal, then anxiety, but eventually she stopped resisting it. She began lighting a candle when she woke up. She'd sit, breathe, and write whatever came. That journal became her first published book, a spiritual memoir channeled during hours most people sleep through. She didn't just wake up, she answered the call. So Scorpio, the next time you wake at 3 a.m., don't fight it, don't reach for your phone, don't curse the clock. Instead, honor the moment. Place your hands over your heart, close your eyes, breathe, and say aloud, "I'm listening." Ask a question if it comes naturally, or just sit in silence and feel. The message may not arrive in words, but your soul will know. You're not being punished, you're being invited to listen, to feel, to receive. And that alone is one of the greatest powers Scorpio holds. The ability to walk between worlds without fear. To wake in the deepest dark and still feel the presence of light. The 3 a.m. summons is your sacred checkpoint. A cosmic pulse reminding you that you are not alone in this transformation. It is your soul's way of whispering, "We are still on course." So honor it, and the night will honor you back. Part 5: Tingling Gateways, when your hands and feet start speaking. You're washing your hands, and suddenly there it is, that subtle buzz in your palms. A gentle tingling like electricity humming just beneath the skin. Later it travels to the soles of your feet, not painful, not alarming, but alive, as if something intelligent is moving through you. You shake it off, but it returns. And Scorpio, that's because it was never a glitch in your nervous system. It was a message your body is trying to speak. And for those born under the sign of transformation, it often starts with the gateways. Let me explain. Your hands and feet are not just extremities, they are energetic portals. They are the entry and exit points of your subtle body, where the physical world meets the spiritual current, where the unseen flows into form and back again. And lately, those gateways have been activating. Why now? Because when a Scorpio begins to move toward their next evolution, whether through a solstice portal, a personal awakening, or a timeline shift, the first signal doesn't always come through words, it comes through sensation. Tingling in the hands can mean your healing channels are opening. You are becoming more energetically sensitive, more attuned. Your body is tuning itself to higher frequencies. You might find that when you touch others, even in casual gestures, people pause, they breathe differently, they say things like, "Wow, you have warm hands," or "I feel calmer when I'm around you." They don't know it, but your hands are transmitting. Similarly, the feet are grounding conduits. If your arches buzz, feel heat, or carry sudden weight, it means your energetic roots are trying to sink deeper into the Earth's grid. The energy of Gaia, the sacred consciousness of this planet, is calling you to anchor even as your spirit expands. You are becoming the bridge, heaven to earth, vision to action, feeling to form. One Scorpio healer I worked with once described it this way: "It's like my body became an antenna. I feel like my feet are absorbing ancient wisdom, and my hands are ready to pass it on, even in silence." Exactly. That's not an overactive imagination, that's Scorpio awakening, where intuition becomes embodiment. So what should you do when this happens? Don't ignore it, don't dismiss it, and please don't assume it's a random nerve flare. Instead, interact with it. When your hands tingle, pause, place them over your heart. Breathe, whisper, "What do you want me to heal right now?" And listen, a memory may surface, an emotion may rise, or nothing may happen, and that's okay. You're clearing space. When your feet buzz, stand barefoot, preferably on soil. Close your eyes. Visualize golden threads flowing from your soles into the earth. Say, ground me in truth, anchor me in what is real. This is not New Age fluff, Scorpio. This is ancient mysticism, rooted in the knowledge that energy speaks before language ever can. These sensations are not just bodily signals. They're your soul's Morse code. You are being fine-tuned, prepared, alchemized from within. Because the next version of you can't walk in with old calibrations. It needs a new circuit, a new current, and your gateways, your hands and feet, are the first to receive the incoming flow. This is especially true during solstice periods and energetic shifts, as the planet realigns. So do you, Scorpio, the next time you feel that spark under your skin. Don't shrug it off, say, I'm ready, I receive, I allow. Because energy is never wasted, and your soul never whispers without purpose. Part 6, Emotional Echoes when you start feeling the world. You're driving alone, thinking about nothing in particular. When suddenly a wave of sorrow hits your chest, no memory, no thought, just feeling, you blink back tears. Try to rationalize it, but you can't, because it's not yours. Then days later, you're washing dishes. And without warning, you feel a surge of joy, pure, radiant, overwhelming. You laugh out loud for no reason. Except Scorpio, there is a reason. You're not losing your mind. You're becoming energetically awake. This is what I call the emotional echo phase. When your sensitivity turns outward. When your emotional field no longer ends at the edge of your skin, but begins to merge with the greater emotional field of the world. Because Scorpio, you were never meant to feel just your own feelings. You are an empathic amplifier, a soul whose heart is wired to the collective. And during energetic spikes like solstices, eclipses, or soul expansions, that wiring lights up like never before. You start to feel the world. It's grief, it's hope, it's quiet prayers spoken in silence, the ache that doesn't make headlines but still echoes across hearts. This is emotional entrainment, and it's no accident it happens to you. You are the sign of the undercurrent. You feel what others bury, you sense what others deny, you carry what others discard. But now something deeper is happening. You're not just noticing energy, you're absorbing it. This is both your gift and your test. Because if you don't know what's yours, Scorpio, you'll start to carry what isn't. And that weight, it will crush even the strongest among you. Let me be clear, this isn't a personality flaw, it's a spiritual assignment. You were born with emotional depth so that when the collective cries, someone you is still listening, but you were never meant to keep it all inside. Let me share a moment that stayed with me. A Scorpio nurse once said to me, "Every time I walk into the hospital, I feel everything, even before I speak to a patient. Some days I go home and cry without knowing why, but I can't stop because I know they need me." I looked at her and said, "You're not crying because you're weak. You're crying because your soul is a vessel and it needs to be emptied too." Scorpio, you are not just a sponge, you are an alchemist. And the way you stay balanced is not by shutting down, but by letting energy move through you, not stick to you. So when these emotional echoes come, practice this, pause and name the feeling. This sorrow, is it mine? Acknowledge it. I recognize this, it's real, but it may not belong to me. Release it, visualize that feeling like water flowing down your body into the earth. You don't have to hold it, you just have to let it pass through. You are not a container. You are a channel, and when you learn to manage this gift, you become a beacon in the dark for those who are silently drowning. You become the calm in someone else's storm. Not by fixing them, but by holding space for them without breaking yourself. This is sacred work, and it's not for everyone, but Scorpio, it was made for you. So the next time you feel something and have no idea why, don't question your sanity, honor your sensitivity, because what feels like an emotional surge may actually be your soul whispering, I am connected, I am compassionate, but I am clear and I release what is not mine. This, Scorpio, is emotional sovereignty, and you're stepping into it now. Part 7, the intuitive body when your cravings and appetites suddenly change. One morning, you pour your usual cup of coffee, but something's off. The taste, bitter, the smell, too sharp, the ritual that once grounded you now makes you wince. Later, you try to eat your favorite snack, but it feels heavy, almost emotionally wrong, not just physically, spiritually. You're not being picky, you're not being dramatic, you're transforming. Because Scorpio, when your soul shifts, your body follows. And what once nourished the old version of you can no longer feed the one you're becoming. This is what I call the intuitive body phase. When your cravings, appetites, and even senses begin to rearrange themselves to match your evolving vibration. And if this has been happening to you recently, know that it is one of the clearest signs that something sacred is unfolding. Let's break it down. Scorpio is a water sign, deeply emotional, deeply intuitive. You don't just feel with your heart, you feel with your entire being. And your body, your sacred vessel, is one of the most sensitive tools in your spiritual arsenal. It knows when you've outgrown something. Long before your conscious mind catches up, you may suddenly lose the taste for alcohol, sugar, or caffeine. Crave water-rich foods like cucumbers, melons, leafy greens. Feel full faster or eat less overall. Be drawn to specific colors or textures in food without knowing why. None of this is random. It's resonance. Your physical form is tuning itself to a more refined, energetic frequency, and it no longer has tolerance for what drains you, not just emotionally, but chemically, vibrationally, spiritually. Processed foods, artificial ingredients, meals eaten in stress, guilt, or distraction. Your system is saying no more. Not because you need to diet, not because you're broken, but because you're preparing to hold more light, to anchor deeper clarity, to become a clearer vessel for the truth that wants to flow through you. I once worked with a Scorpio chef, a man whose life revolved around flavor, indulgence, sensory experiences. And yet, after a near-death experience, he told me something that sent chills down my spine. I came back and suddenly meat felt like grief, wine felt like confusion, but fruits, especially citrus, felt like joy, like light. That's how deep the shift can go, because every food carries energy. And when you change, so does what you can tolerate. So what do you do when your body begins rejecting the familiar? You listen, without fear, without judgment. Before you eat or drink anything, pause, hold it in your hands, close your eyes, and ask, will this nourish me now? Feel the answer. Your body will tell you. Yes feels warm, open, grounded. No feels tight, anxious, disconnected. This is intuitive nourishment. This is eating as ritual, not just routine. And Scorpio, you of all signs know that everything is energy, including what you consume. But this goes beyond food. You may also crave more silence and less noise. Avoid environments that used to excite you. Reject media or music that once entertained you but now feels toxic. Your appetite is changing in every realm because the old you fed off survival. This version of you, she feeds on alignment. And here's the secret no one talks about. When you honor these shifts in appetite, you heal not just your present body, but all the times you betrayed it in the past. The times you ignored your gut, the times you ate your pain, the times you numbed your truth to feel normal. Those days are over. Now, your body doesn't want normal, it wants sacred. So let yourself change, let your cravings evolve. You are not becoming picky. You are becoming precise. You are not falling apart. You are coming back together in a way that aligns soul and flesh. So Scorpio, tonight, when you open your fridge, or when your hand reaches for the familiar, pause it and ask, is this for survival or for my becoming? Because the intuitive body never lies. Part 8, Sideways Visions, when the other world begins to show itself. You catch it just for a moment, a flicker of light in your peripheral vision, a brief shadow that moves, but when you turn your head, there's nothing there. Maybe it's a sparkle in the corner of your eye. Maybe it's a soft presence you feel but can't prove, and just as quickly as it arrives, it's gone. Scorpio, that was no optical illusion. That was a sideways transmission. You're not imagining things, you're not making it up. You are beginning to see between the worlds. Let's talk about why. Scorpio, as a soul ruled by both Pluto and Mars. You were born with a special kind of vision. Not just the kind that sees what's in front of you, but the kind that pierces through layers of illusion. This vision doesn't live in your physical eyes. It lives in your intuition, especially the kind that activates when you're not looking directly at something. And that's the secret. Why do so many of these visions happen in the edges of your awareness? Because your central gaze is ruled by logic. It's the domain of the mind trained to filter, assess, and dismiss what does make sense. But the periphery, the edge of sight, that's the realm of the subconscious. And in Scorpio, that realm is wide open. The otherworld, spirit, guides, ancestors, unseen presences, doesn't force itself into the spotlight. It slips in quietly, respectfully. And when you see those flickers, it's not trying to scare you, it's trying to greet you. It's saying, we're here, you're not alone, and your sight is opening. Let me share a story. A Scorpio woman I worked with, a photographer by trade, once told me I started noticing flashes in my side vision, like someone was taking pictures with an invisible camera. At first, I thought it was migraines. But it only happened when I was creating, painting, writing, meditating. And then one day I heard it, a voice, faint but clear, thank you for noticing. That moment changed everything for her. She began keeping a journal of every flicker, every light, every sensation. And what she found was that they weren't random. They were patterns, communications. Scorpio, your soul doesn't need billboards, it needs subtlety. And the other world speaks in the language of subtle signs. So when this happens to you, when the flickers come, when the presence feels near, when the goosebumps rise out of nowhere, don't chase it, don't whip your head around trying to see. Instead, soften, smile, and say aloud or in your heart, I see you, thank you. That acknowledgement is everything. It tells the universe, I am awake, I am listening, I am ready to see more. And it builds trust between you and the spirit world, between you and your own awakening vision. Here's another insight. These sideways transmissions often occur in moments of creative flow, in stillness like meditation or solitude, during transitional thresholds like just before sleep or just after waking, around portals, full moons, solstices, eclipses. So if they've increased lately, it's a confirmation that your intuitive channels are expanding. And Scorpio, that makes sense because you are not just a sign of mystery, you are a guardian of thresholds. You stand between life and death, beginning and end, known and unknown. You don't run from shadows, you become their translator. That's why these subtle signs seek you first, because they know you'll respect them, because they know you'll understand. So what can you do to deepen this connection? Try this nightly ritual, light a candle, dim the lights, sit in quiet stillness. Let your gaze soften, not focus, just open. Pay attention to the edges, and then just be. You're not looking for ghosts, you're opening to guidance. And as your trust deepens, so will your sight. You are developing what mystics call the second sight. And it's not about seeing ghosts or spirits in full form. It's about perceiving what the soul knows before the mind can name it. This is Scorpio magic. So when the flicker comes, welcome it when the air shifts. Breathe with it when the chill on your skin whispers, "We are here." Whisper back, "So am I." It's because the other world doesn't appear to frighten, it appears to remind you. You are not just living a life, you are walking between realms, and now you're learning how to see it. Part 9, Inner Fire, Outer Storm, the collision of Pluto and Mars. There are days, Scorpio, when you feel like a volcano wearing a mask. On the outside, calm, composed, unbothered, but inside, molten, simmering, seconds away from erupting, and you don't even know why. You try to breathe it away. You try to meditate, journal, walk it off. But nothing soothes the tension building in your chest, in your gut, behind your eyes. It's not just stress, it's not hormones, it's not just one of those days. It's a planetary collision inside your soul. It's Pluto and Mars, your two ruling forces waking up at the same time. Let's talk about what this really means. You, Scorpio, are the only sign ruled by both a planet of death and a planet of war. Pluto, the underworld king, guardian of secrets, master of rebirth. Mars, the warrior, the doer, the flame, the sword. And when these two archetypes awaken together in your body, you feel like you're being pulled in two directions. Pluto whispers, "Let it go, die to what no longer serves, enter the dark and become new." Mars shouts, "Do something, fight, move, act now." One tells you to surrender, the other tells you to strike. And in that tug of war, your nervous system tightens, your soul heats up, your thoughts scatter, your heart pounds even if you're just sitting still. This is not dysfunction, this is activation. Because transformation for Scorpio is never one-dimensional. You don't evolve by either resting or fighting. You evolve by integrating both. Let me tell you what that looks like. There was a Scorpio man I once guided, a retired military officer turned spiritual teacher. He used to describe this exact feeling. "It's like I'm meant to both dig the grave and light the torch." He wasn't wrong. When the fire of Mars rises inside you, it may feel like rage, urgency, drive, but don't confuse it for recklessness. That fire is sacred, it wants to build something new. When the shadow of Pluto pulls you inward, it may feel like depression, isolation, emptiness, but don't confuse it for weakness. That darkness is sacred, it wants to strip away what is false. Together, they do not cancel each other out. They create a ritual of combustion. The inner fire burns what Pluto reveals. The outer storm clears space for your higher timeline. This is why, Scorpio, you often go through phases of intense energy followed by profound stillness. It's your soul learning to hold both forces. The push and the pull, the burn and the burial, the sacred rage and the silent release. So what do you do when this storm hits? You don't try to fix it. You don't rush to numb it. You don't let it control you. You become the container. You say, "I feel the fire. I honor the depth. I will not act impulsively. But I will not ignore what is being stirred." You channel Mars through movement, a walk, a breathwork session, a workout. You channel Pluto through stillness, a journal entry, a quiet sit in the dark, a moment of surrender. You don't pick sides, you become the ritual that unites them. Because Scorpio, when you learn to ride this internal collision, you become unbreakable, no longer torn between urgency and surrender, but guided by both. No longer reactive, but responsive. Rooted, wise, this is mastery, this is embodiment. This is you reborn in fire and depth as only Scorpio can be. So the next time the pressure builds, and your body feels like it's fighting itself, remember, you are not at war, you are awakening. You are holding two sacred forces inside one soul, and they are learning to dance. Part 10, the soul shift, when you become someone you've never been before. There comes a moment in the Scorpio journey that words can't prepare you for. It doesn't happen all at once, and yet when it arrives, nothing feels the same. You look in the mirror and something has changed. It's still your face, still your body, still your life technically, but you're not who you were a week ago, a month ago, a lifetime ago, even if it's only been a few days. This is the moment of the soul shift. And Scorpio, when it happens to you, it shakes you all the way down to your bones. Let me be clear, this isn't a mindset change. This isn't a new habit or a rebrand. This is a metamorphosis of identity. A full recalibration of who you are at the deepest spiritual level. You don't decide to become someone new. You wake up one day and realize you already are. It's terrifying and liberating. And irreversible, because the soul shift doesn't ask for permission. It arrives when the old version of you is no longer compatible with the life you were trying to maintain. And suddenly, you find yourself unable to do the things you used to. You can't tolerate small talk or superficial relationships. You can't stay in rooms where your spirit feels suffocated. You can't fake laughter at things that hurt your soul. And maybe most painfully, you can't pretend to be okay when you're not. Scorpio, this is not dysfunction. This is alignment. Your frequency has shifted. Your soul has chosen truth over comfort. And now everything around you, people, patterns, places, must either rise to meet you or fall away. It can feel like grief, but what you're grieving is who you no longer are. You see, Scorpio's life is marked by many deaths, not just the physical kind. You die to illusion, you die to old roles, you die to expectations that were never yours to carry. And after each symbolic death, a deeper version of your soul rises. Stronger, sharper, more luminous than before, but this stage, this final shedding, is the one where you can't go back, even if you wanted to. Because you no longer fit inside the skin of your past self. And Scorpio, that is sacred. Let me share the story of a Scorpio woman I once worked with. She came to me in the middle of what she called a spiritual identity crisis. She had left a high-paying career, ended a long-term relationship, and stopped speaking to friends who didn't understand her path. She was alone, uncertain, raw, but when I looked at her, I didn't see someone falling apart. I saw someone finally becoming whole. I told her, "You didn't lose your life, you outgrew your shell." A few months later, she emerged, not as someone new, but as someone real. She began painting again, something she hadn't done since childhood. She opened a small healing space. She spoke with a softness that didn't dim her power but deepened it. She didn't find her purpose, she remembered it. And Scorpio, that's what the soul shift gives you. Not a brand new identity, but a return to the original frequency of your soul. Before the world told you who you had to be, so what do you do when this moment comes? When your old skin lies at your feet, and the new you isn't fully formed yet, you don't rush it, you breathe, you grieve what needs grieving, you thank what needs honoring, and you stay present with what is becoming. Because the soul shift is not a destination, it's a doorway. And on the other side is a life that matches your magnitude, a life that doesn't shrink you, a love that doesn't silence you. A path that doesn't require you to fracture yourself just to be accepted. You were not meant to blend in, you were meant to burn through. So if you feel strange, untethered, unrecognizable right now, good, that means it's working. That means the shift is real. That means you're remembering who you were before the forgetting. Conclusion, the rebirth, what all these signs are really preparing you for. So here we are, Scorpio. After everything, the flickers, the stillness, the dreams, the wake-ups at 3 a.m. The strange cravings, the tingling skin, the emotional waves, the flickering shadows. The rage, the silence, the surrender, the fire. What has it all been leading to? Rebirth not as a metaphor, not as a story we tell ourselves to feel better, but as a sacred truth, a spiritual fact woven into your very DNA. Because when the cosmos wants transformation, it chooses Scorpio. When the soul is ready to evolve, it comes through you. And when the world needs someone to walk between endings and beginnings, it sends you first. The signs we've explored together weren't random. They weren't symptoms of something wrong. They were sacred whispers guiding you toward the most powerful initiation of your life. Not a surface shift, not a glow-up, but a soul-level metamorphosis. And here's the truth that most won't say out loud: rebirth isn't pretty. It's not polished, it's messy, it's disorienting, it's terrifying, because to become something greater, you must let the old version of you die. And no matter how wise or powerful you are, that hurts. But Scorpio, it is through that burning that your wings are forged. The phoenix doesn't rise because it wants to. It rises because it must. It rises because something inside refuses to stay ash and smoke. And so do you. You've been sensing it all along, haven't you? That something was coming, something more. And now it's here, not out there, not someday, here, now, in you. You are being initiated into your next soul chapter. The chapter where you no longer shrink. The chapter where you no longer betray your intuition for comfort. The chapter where you speak, move, create, and love from your truest self. You are not being punished by intensity. You are being prepared by it. Prepared to hold space for others. Prepared to lead through frequency, not force. Prepared to embody truth that makes people tremble and wake up. Prepared to become who you've always been underneath the masks. And I want to tell you something from one soul to another. If you've made it this far through this message and through this season of your life, I honor you, because most people run from this kind of transformation. They deny it, numb it, postpone it, but you listened, you stayed, you opened, you burned, and chose not to extinguish your own fire. You answered the call. So now I ask you, what will you do with all this knowing? What will you create from the ashes of your old self? What truth will you live now that you've remembered it? Because Scorpio, you're not just being reborn, you are being revealed. No more pretending, no more containment, no more delay. This is the season of your soul's unveiling. So take one more deep breath, place your hand on your heart, and whisper, I am ready, I am becoming, I am reborn. It's because you are right now. And if this message resonated, even one part of it, don't keep it to yourself. Leave a comment. Share the moment that hit your soul the hardest. Because your voice, your story, might just be the mirror another Scorpio needs to remember who they are. And if you want more of this, more soul-level insight, more spiritual truth, more Scorpio medicine, subscribe to this channel, not because it helps the algorithm, but because this is a space where your depth is not too much, where your intensity is a gift, where your transformation is sacred. This is your tribe, this is your temple, this is your rebirth. And Scorpio, the world isn't ready for who you're becoming, but that's never stopped you before. If this message touched your soul, don't let the journey end here. Subscribe to the path to Buddha wisdom, not just to follow, but to stay anchored in a space that honors your depth, your intuition, and your transformation. Here you are not too intense, you are not too emotional, you are not too much, you are home. So click that subscribe button and ring the bell. Not for me, but for you. Because Scorpio, your next awakening is closer than you think. And together we rise through shadow, through fire, and into truth. Welcome to the path. Welcome to your rebirth.